please don't skip this video. If these words touch your heart, take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. By doing so, you're helping spread the word of Jesus and reach someone who is waiting for hope today. Stay with us until the end. God may have a special message, a blessing, or an answer to your prayers just for you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. May God bless you abundantly, fill your life with His peace, and answer the desires of your heart. Amen.
So let's travel back nearly 3,000 years, to a time when an ordinary shepherd delivered a message so radical it rocked an entire kingdom to its core. His name was Amos, and his words about justice and hypocrisy, well, they're scarily relevant today. So what did he say that was so dangerous? And why does his ancient roar still echo in our modern world?
Yeah, see, the Book of Amos, it doesn't start with a whisper. It starts with a roar. This is the sound of immediate danger, a warning that you just can't ignore. It's a signal that something is deeply, deeply wrong and judgment is on its way. This is the sound the prophet Amos was sent to make.
All right, so who was this guy? Who was the man behind this powerful warning? Before we can really get into the message itself, we got to understand the messenger and the world he was living in.
And here's what's so fascinating about Amos. He wasn't some insider. He wasn't a professional prophet or a priest from the capital. He was a shepherd, an outsider from the southern kingdom of Judah. And God calls him, this shepherd, to go north to the kingdom of Israel, which was wealthy, powerful, and stable, and deliver a message that, let me tell you, they really did not want to hear. So Amos kicks things off with this, brilliant strategy. He starts out by announcing God's judgment on all of Israel's neighbors for all their violence and oppression. You can just picture the Israelites listening in, nodding along, thinking, yeah, get him. Damascus had it coming. He's establishing a key principle here. God's justice applies to everyone. And it's also the perfect trap for his real target. And then, just when everyone in Israel is feeling pretty good about themselves, bam, the tables turn. After running through the sins of all the other nations, Amos pivots, and the full force of that judgment is pointed right at Israel itself. And this, right here, is the heart of the problem. On one side, you have Israel's special calling. God chose them to be a beacon of His justice for the whole world. But on the other side, their actions told a totally different story, one of corruption, of ignoring the poor, and practicing a religion that was completely hollow. And look, Amos doesn't pull any punches. He gets super specific. He calls out the wealthy for living in luxury while the poor were being crushed. Sound familiar? He condemns their corrupt legal system, and he basically tells them that all their big religious festivals and sacrifices are meaningless because they aren't backed up by just and righteous lives. Okay, so here's the kicker. This is so important. Israel basically thought, hey, we're God's chosen people. We get a free pass. Amos just flips that whole idea upside down. He says, no, because of that special relationship, you are held to a higher standard. Your privilege doesn't mean immunity, it means greater responsibility. So, this all builds up to a pretty terrifying climax. At this point, the arguments are over. God starts giving Amos a series of visions, and each one is like a snapshot, illustrating the inevitable consequences of what Israel has been doing.
First up, he sees a swarm of locusts ready to just devour the land. And we're not just talking about a bad harvest here. This symbolized the complete destruction of the nation's economy, its security, its future. Everything they had built was about to be wiped out.
Next, Amos sees a vision of fire. And this isn't a small, controllable fire. This was an all-consuming inferno, a devastating, unstoppable force that represented a total purification coming for the entire nation. Then there's the vision of a plumb line. You know, that simple tool a builder uses to see if a wall is perfectly straight? Well, God holds up His perfect standard of justice against Israel, and it becomes painfully clear they are hopelessly crooked. They're a structure that's completely out of alignment, and it has to be torn down. And the final vision is a basket of ripe summer fruit. This image is so simple, but so powerful. Think about it. You can't just leave ripe fruit sitting around. Its time is up. And that was the message. Israel's sin had reached its peak. The time for warnings was over. Judgment wasn't coming anymore. It was here.
Wow. So after all of that, the accusations, the devastating visions of locusts and fire and crooked walls, you have to be wondering, is that it? Is this story just about the end of Israel? Is it all doom and gloom?
But then, right at the very end of the book, when all hope seems lost, the tone takes this surprising, incredible turn. Because despite the severity of the judgment, destruction is not God's final word.
Yes, the nation was going to face destruction. That was real. But God promises to preserve a remnant.
He says he will not completely wipe out his people. He's going to save a small piece to rebuild from.
And God doesn't just leave it there. He lays out a future plan for redemption. He's going to rebuild from the ruins, restoring the line of King David. And this restoration, it isn't just for Israel. The plan is that it will extend to bless all nations, leading to a future of true peace. Even in the middle of judgment, God has a plan for restoration.
So why does this ancient shepherd's message still feel so powerful? Why does it hit so hard today? Well, it's because the core issues he was talking about, social injustice, religion that's all for show, the comfortable ignoring the suffering, these things are absolutely timeless.
The book's central theme really boils down to this powerful contrast. God makes it crystal clear through Amos, he rejects your superficial religious acts when they're disconnected from your heart. What he truly desires, what he demands is authentic justice and righteousness flowing through society like an unstoppable river.
So, the roar of Amos leaves us with a challenge. It forces us to look in the mirror, to examine our own lives and our own societies. Are we the complacent ones, living comfortably while we ignore the injustices around us? Is our faith genuine, or are we just going through the motions? The prophet's roar is still echoing, calling us today to a life of true justice and righteousness.